Howdy. All right. So I saw you sent me a doc in Messenger, but I wasn't able to open it.
Well,
I
that's
don't
not
know if
what it's supposed to be.
I
Thought
don't
you
know
could
if
open. Then how else was we going to do this? Private to me, only me. Well, I need to change that. It's locked. How do I change that? General access. Anyone with a link. There we go. I think that.
there we go. All
Yeah,
right, I
I
see
didn't
it.
have to resend it. Okay. Glad it was that easy.
Perfect.
Okay. So this was done early in the morning. So
No worries. Okay, well we'll just we'll step through it and see if there's any adjustments that you feel help it. This will be great. All right, so let's see here. Let me jump to this part. All right, so identity. Why is my life so hard? So that feels like a good question. How can I ever trust again? That definitely something I've heard and I resonate with myself. Who am I really? Yeah, just cutting straight to like, what is my purpose? Some big question we all resonate with.
mhm.
All right, define your purpose. So is this all there is? That's a, man, that could be unpacked in a million different ways,
Mhm.
from just the life that I have to the bigger existential questions about, is there a bigger meaning to anything? Who do I know that can help me fulfill my purpose in life? Like that. Why does this keep happening to me? That's a good place to start. Starting to get clarity on my things. What is blocking me from living the life that I want? Good introspections, like taking a look at what are the obstacles, what brings out the best in me. I love that. Integrity. Okay, so what am I doing? So assessing a specific thing. Why am I doing this now? Okay, that makes sense. Am I doing this for myself or for someone else? That's a good question.
And I've tried to
Uh
get follow your suggestion. This is for different levels. Like first is
huh.
group, the other is community, and the other is like
Yeah.
picking up for a high ticket. Well, or
Yeah, and now that you point out that pattern, it's you can see that like each one kind of delves a little bit deeper. Um,
mhm.
yeah. All right. Self-inquiry. Why am I angry? Is this really that important? Yes. What's really motivating me right now? That's good.
Yeah. So if you, I think you're pretty observant. So you see how it's
Hmm.
basically the same question, just diving deeper.
Yeah, exactly. And it really kind of follows the model. I mean, it's like you're dealing with just the emotion. It's like this is how I feel, and then the question is like, so what does that mean? What's the idea behind that emotion? And then the action of like, all right, is there something I need to do about this? What am I doing that's creating this? And so, yeah, that moving from emotion to processing it and then turning it into an action, I think is the right process. And I'm seeing a lot of these kind of play out in that formula. This is great.
Oh, thank you.
This is solid. Why am I burned out? All right, clear obstacles. All right, what would I like to learn in life? What do I want to do before I die? Ooh, I like that. That's thought provoking. All right,
Good.
how do I stop beating myself up and judging myself?
You get credit for that one.
And why am I afraid of failure? That's a one you gotta ask yourself again and again. Because you move to the next level and then all of a sudden you have a whole new set of things you're afraid of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I feel more inspired? Great question. How can I be more inspired? Who can I inspire? Oh man, I love these. Yeah, so feeling, thought, action. Yep, these are awesome. These are great. What
Of course,
more?
this is a starting point as we move forward and hear the language
Yeah,
people are
absolutely.
using. We can,
Let's
incorporate
go
them
back
as
and
appropriate.
update. Right.
I don't know if you can.
What would I do with my life if I
I'm
knew
just
I couldn't fail?
scrolling this, but
All right.
so you can scroll this on your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't need to scroll. Okay, I was.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. So these are actions. All right. First action is that I don't like being wrong.
Which technically, first actions here are more decisions. I
Mm-hmm.
look
Sure.
at it as all actions do have to begin with a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I included that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's appropriate?
Sorry. Ask that again.
So as you can see, that's really a choice. To admit that I don't like being wrong,
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that as more of a decision than an action.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I admit I don't like being wrong. It doesn't mean I'm doing
Yeah.
anything about it. But
Mm-hmm.
so technically it's not an action, but the I don't know, the way I frame it up, before I do any action, I make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I did that. Now, do you think that's appropriate, or should we
Let's see.
presume that there was a decision made before these actions?
Well, I think decision always does come before action. Um, for me, like integrity is like this cycle of like intention, reflection, direction, and then action. So I think let's see. Admit I don't think being wrong. So it's you're setting the intention, you're acknowledging the thing that you want to change. Uh, believe life can be greater than I can imagine reflection. So like what is that I do believe in lieu of the thing that I want to replace. Yeah. Become committed. So you set a direction so that you can take action. It's because yeah, this plays out like in kind of that logical progression that I feel like we kind of think in this linear stair step progression. I feel like this makes a lot of sense.
Okay, good. Because actually, these first three actions here are the gist of the first three steps, the way I've written them out.
Hmm.
So where like an
Yeah.
addict would say, admit I'm powerless over alcohol, my life is unmanageable.
Right. Yeah, and I see a lot of that.
Like you can say you're an addict and alcoholic and all this kind of stuff, but really, and it's the
Hmm.
spirit of this is the honesty and humility and stuff that you haven't been
Hmm.
teachable. I
Yes.
don't like being wrong. Okay, yeah. So
Hmm.
whatever you're saying, forget you. No, I'm not there. Well, no, if that doesn't work for you, then do the opposite and
Hmm.
just admit that this is causing problems. And then instead of making decisions, turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand them. Okay, the belief here is essentially the same thing, but it's worded in a more secular way. To believe that life can be greater than
Yeah.
I can imagine or even ask for. That is essentially what we're doing when we turn our lives over to God.
Hmm.
Okay. And then the third is also, again, it's still a decision, is to become fully committed to do whatever it takes. So, yeah. Again, these are more decisions, but I can speak from my personal perspective. These were not easy decisions, and they sure felt like actions. Because I had to
Hmm.
there was actions involved with me to make these decisions.
Yeah.
So, just to give you some clarity on this and stuff, but that's
Hmm.
why that was used. So, and I guess also what I'm getting at is this is the part where I feel could use more help, but it's a starting point. Again,
Hmm. Yeah,
None
for
of this
sure. And I
is set
think
in stone.
I can we can for sure like whittle these down into something more precise and concise. But yeah, this is really great foundation for what we're trying to do.
Good.
And let's see, obstacles. Okay, yeah, this works. Hmm. Good action. Right. So let's see here. Let me see if, well, let me just finish dropping these in so that we can do some refining from there. Let's see, act, avoid immediate decisions, honest in your assessment of situations, focus on progress, perfection. Love that. Listen more than speak, inspired action, do something that I enjoy. Help someone. Mm, I love that. Putting the non-transactional action into practice. Stop comparing yourself to others. Yes. Give yourself permission to make mistakes and learn something. Teach someone a skill. Oh man, I love this. I really love this.
Well, thank
It's just, yeah. I mean, so much of my own personal philosophy, it's like, it just boils down to like tag and teach. Like, find somebody you can tap on the shoulder and then share something that makes their life better. You know, it's like, I've earned this. Hopefully, I can give it to you and shortcut your path a little bit to create your world a little bit more beautiful. But that process of just sharing what you know with the people that helps, like this whole thing, I'm seeing like this big macro version like boil down to the what are the little tiny micro steps to move you further in that journey of going from, so what is it you want to change? All right, let's figure out how to do that. Start living that. All right, now that you've kind of conquered that dragon, so to speak, let's go back home. Like teach people, here's how I did this. And it's like it's the perfect hero's journey. I mean, it's the gospel message, like in a tiny microcosm of an infinite, you know, uh, worldview. But yeah, this is good. I'm
Well,
getting excited
yeah,
about
so
this.
that's the thing is, yeah, I mean, these part of what I'm going to do to, I don't know, validate it might be the word and stuff. It's like, look,
Mm-hmm.
this has been used here, 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 and for effective
Mm-hmm.
results. Do you think it's an accident?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why this worked 2,000 years ago and why it still works today is because humans
Mm-hmm.
haven't changed at all. Okay, so
Yeah.
kind of the whole sales pitch of like, why this? It's like, well, look, I've I'm trying right now here not to be this Mr. Know-it-all. I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm
Yeah.
sharing my observations, and this is where I've kind of noticed similarities where this was done in this case and this was done in this case. And even though there might have been a different language and a slightly different emphasis, this is
Mm-hmm.
basically the gist of what the process is. And this is
Yeah.
why my hypothesis is it works for addicts and alcoholics and to turn their lives around. These same principles can work for anyone with any situation when they want to go from to basically transform their life.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that's enough of it's simple enough, but it's persuasive enough for somebody to go, huh, well,
Mm-hmm.
let's turn the page and see what's next, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's really all. It's again all this. When I'm seeing this type of stuff, this is enough just to get somebody's interest to go to the next step,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so on. And
Yes.
eventually they slay the dragon, and they're
Mm-hmm.
coming back, and they go, oh yeah, oh yeah, this is something that can benefit others. Than this
Mm-hmm.
gift of calling I'm a transformation was not just for Randy alone. This is for
Mm-hmm.
others. And why I'm bringing that up, this was kind of one of the things I touched on talking with Brian today. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that he accepted, the invitation. It was really time well spent.
Yeah.
But where I got the big, like, yeah, man, and stuff. And as we're looking for the avatar who is a good member, is the person who gets,
Mm-hmm.
this that I went through and overcame was
Mm-hmm.
not for me alone. And it's to share with others. When
Mm-hmm.
somebody nods their head up and down and goes, hell yes,
Yeah.
that's the people we would, at least, again, you're saying agreeing, again, you're giving your yes too. That's what I think is probably square one for
Mm-hmm.
the first 100. And because then it's inevitable that we're going to have a bunch of people that are like, oh yeah, I got something that's I can't see anything other than sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So with that spirit of stuff, then it's just, I think it's going to be lightning in a bottle kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Going
I'm
to
excited.
be
Well,
very, very.
so let's take a look at how this might be represented. Um, how somebody might look at this, and then we'll start making some tweaks and have something to start bouncing off of your real community. So this is um, kind of like the first version of what it might look like. So this is the Unchurch model, or maybe you have a bigger umbrella that you want to put unchurch membership as well as the easier sobriety programs like underneath this umbrella, because I think both of them, like you said, you really kind of dovetail in terms of philosophy. You want to have the same similar process. It's like the solution is, well, get in community and figure it out yourself. The other is like, here's my step-by-step process that if you just want me to tell you what to do, this is one way that you could do it. And then, if you want to be real hands-off, like, just tell us where you're at on this process. Like, how are you doing with being authentic with yourself? How are you doing with, um, your integrity and observing yourself? And are you finding moments where you're achieving serenity?
Yes,
So,
I think what we've created together here, it's how again, it dovetails. We can just change the head, change Unchurch to easier sobriety model,
mm,
and there again, easier sobriety model. Yeah,
mhm,
I feel comfortable sharing this,
perfect.
and then easier sobriety could. I mean, nothing's finalized in pricing and
Hmm.
structure. It may be, at least at this level of presentation, the
Hmm.
just, hey, this is something you might be interested in.
Yeah.
First phase for this is also could be like a membership. What do you mean? Yeah, just for X number of dollars, and then because
Hmm.
it will be more intensive,
Hmm.
be higher than the $7 a month thing. But it's still
Yeah.
want to create it so price isn't. I would, off the top of my head, I would think like $100 a month, but it's still a membership.
Hmm.
Do
Yeah.
I fully commit this and stuff? It's like
Hmm.
$100 a month, $25 a week, $5 a day, kind of however I want to, kind of present them.
Hmm.
$5 a day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess I could do 30 days for $5 a day. Okay, cool. And then after you do, that, we can work out a program where it's quarterly, whatever, 250, for every 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's a membership thing. And
Hmm.
then as they become familiar with it and recognize the benefits of being
Hmm.
involved with it, then you can say, oh, by the way, yeah, well, next level stuff is a $3,000
Yeah.
program. So that, again, just sharing with you my idea for the ascension model.
Hmm.
And again, I'm just starting, this
Yeah,
could,
absolutely.
in fact, it's very likely will be adapt it. It'll
Hmm.
change. Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
wait, yeah, that's not the right way to say it. Everybody gets hung up on this stuff. Don't say it that way. You know? uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, so what you've helped me create is something that's oh, how to say, dual purpose.
Hmm. Yeah. So I love the way that you've described like each of the steps. I feel like that really helps. And so that way when people say, "Well, tell me more about like the authentic self," like we can jump out. And so when we were talking and I was looking over the document, what I was dropping in was, so let's take a look at. I think it's this one. So when we're talking about the authentic self, so what is that? Well, we're gonna help you like the part of the way that you become authentic to yourself. So you start admitting it's like, what is it you want to change? Well, I really don't like being wrong. That's what I've found. And so then you have to work towards, believing that your life can be greater than I can imagine or even ask for. So once you've got that belief available, then you can become fully committed to do what it takes to be more like the person I was born to be. These are the things that kind of can get in the way of those, you being authentic. It's like sometimes you're overwhelmed by needing external approval. You can be burnt out by life seeming hard. You're frustrated because there's nobody in my network that I can trust. Everybody that has been close to me has bit me in the butt, and so I feel like I got to just do this myself. Everybody just leave me alone. It's like, well, let's start working through these steps, and maybe these things start to fall away, and you can become more like the person that you really are deep down. So
Yeah,
I feel like
I
I feel like
love
this stuff is
you've created something so awesome here. Plug in these things, and now all of a sudden it's populated. This is wonderful.
so. I'm excited about this because this will allow you to really like as soon as somebody raises their hand, like, hey, that sounds interesting. Can you tell me more? You've already set up all the stuff that you can tell me more about, and you can say, well, I would love to. What do you have questions about? Be like, okay, well, I really like I'm having trouble with my spouse. It's just our marriage is getting frustrating. I feel like I'm probably have as much to do with it as anybody, so that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, well, let's talk about triggers. Part of the serenity model is like getting to the place where you don't have triggers anymore. And so, you know, part of our program is actually dealing with this. So if you feel like you're overwhelmed because you're triggered all the time, your spouse does something and you're like, all they're doing is something simple and I'm having this big blow up reaction to it. Well, it feels like there should be another reaction available to you, but that's how you experience it. You're starting to get burnt out because like these things happen all the time. It's making your life hard. And you're frustrated because I can't talk to my spouse about it. They're the one that's triggering me. My buddies are like, they expect I should have a great marriage. I'm the one who's doing the best out of my friends. I can't tell them that you know. So, we're gonna help you start uh, we're gonna slow things down. We're gonna have you stop making decisions just reactionary. We're not just deciding based on emotion. We're gonna have a process where you can slow down, breathe deep, reflect before you do things. That's gonna become a part of how you respond now. So, and then we want to make sure that you go through an assessment, an honest assessment of the situation you're in. Maybe there's something about the environment you have control of that we can change, but we won't know until we assess that. And then we're going to focus on progress. So many times we have a vision of what it could be, and we're not there yet, so we're frustrated because we're here. Well, what if I looked at, well, where have I come in the last 6 months? You know what? I'm glad I'm here and I'm not where I was a year ago. Let's get into the mindset of that's what you automatically look at is I'm so grateful for all of the progress that I've made. And that's just one piece of the model that we're doing is to help you. We're giving you the tools to help you eliminate triggers. Does that sound great?
This is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is,
So, do you feel like, I mean, Randy, do you feel like this helps you have a consistent way to articulate what your program is and like really start to hear the feedback from people of like, this is good, this is what I'm looking for, or like, well, but I actually what I'm looking for is this, so that you have something now that you can get feedback from people.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, 110%.
Hmm. So awesome. So I'll kind of go through here and let's see. I've got another 35 minutes or so. What I will do before our next meeting, maybe um, tomorrow, I have a presentation, and then I usually try not to book anything on Fridays, just so I have time to help with the weekend stuff. Maybe by next week, what I'll do is I'll go through here, just check for typos, that kind of thing. And then we can sit down and kind of do a review of
Yeah.
all of the. In fact, um, in the 30 minutes, we can actually probably review most of this stuff. Just take a glance at it, and then if there's any big aesthetic things that you're like, hey, is there any wiggle room for changing or tweaking this? And again, this is kind of first draft. We want to get it really in front of people and really build it out based on what people are saying and responding.
Mhm,
Either
mhm.
they're gonna like, oh wow, like I had no idea it was gonna be this. This sounds amazing. This is great. Or they'll be like, okay, that's cool. Where I'm actually at right now is, and then we kind of refine and build off of the language that people are sharing, their real problems, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Um, but how do you feel like this? Do you feel like this will help have some more concrete conversations and
Oh,
really start to have more like enrollment type conversations?
I am so grateful and excited. This is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
I'm so happy to hear that.
And again, because again, I've been so, gosh, God is so good when I again I've just said I'm doing this. I'm 100% in this. I'm not fooling around, kind of stuff.
Mm.
Just manifests working with you. So I'm again grateful to God and working through you and stuff. So that's my answer. How well I think it'll work. Um, because again, this will certainly help with people, officially enrolling people with the genuinely have problems want to solve. But part of it, again, of explaining to those that would be like a Brian Campbell
Hmm.
into it, it's like, okay, so you kind of got the gist of what we're doing here and stuff.
Yeah.
Give you, but let me run you through a quick slide deck. I think I could do this in like 15 minutes. I'll show you 9 slides and stuff that I would
Mm.
present to somebody who's interested in this, and then
Hmm.
really be, I'll have my bullet points and just kind of go through this in 15 minutes to get the guy go or gal going, oh, this is good, man.
Mm. Hmm.
And then, okay, next steps. Okay, so based upon everything I shared with you, what makes sense for you? Would you like to be
Hmm.
involved with this? Or would you maybe think, well, it's not appropriate for me, but I know someone. Let me get
Mm.
feedback from you. And that would basically probably be like the next 15 minutes of the scheduled appointment. So this is, I got the perfect visual aids to have that discussion.
Mm. That's
So,
exciting.
oh,
How does that feel for you?
oh, perfect question. When I got to remember to ask people. I'm grateful. I'm excited. And also, again, we can, this is evergreen. Again, we're new. There'll be words, again, it's things will be adapted on this.
Hmm.
We're going to, make this better as we move forward.
Hmm.
Just because it's helpful to have timelines. Yeah, at the end of 90 days and 100 people in the program, we'll have a better understanding of what's the appropriate language involved with it, what needs to, have an
Yeah.
emphasis. You know, 6 out of 10 people thought this was the most important thing. Well, guess what we're going to talk about most? You know,
Yeah.
so that having that kind of perspective, then okay,
Hmm.
as I was mentioning yesterday, it's like, okay, once we get this first 100. So I use this language with Brian today. So this first 100, I'm going to call this the soft launch.
Hmm.
After we get 100, okay, now we got a community. Now we got something to sell. Now I can do paid.
Mm.
Now, again, so there's recordings and all that kind of stuff for people to
Yeah.
peruse and all this stuff. And yeah, so guess what? Yeah, they got in at that price because they're founding members. No, now the price is this. And
Hmm.
Why? Because it's worth it. But if you don't think it's worth it, thanks for letting me know in all frankness. And that's why we charge money. If you don't recognize that this is something special like everyone else does, then thanks for your time. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but for those it's for, they get it. Okay, it's not my opinion. I got 100 people that said this is cool. I want to be involved.
Yeah.
So again, it's just no brag, just fact. This again, they're involved with, again, and it's not random. There's been a lot of people that have put input. I had to be the guy who instigated this. And so, sure, I'm the founder of it, but this, again, why this is called a membership and stuff. There's involvement with it. And if you'd like to be involved in the next 100 people, I think probably is the next phase and stuff in our growth model and stuff. Okay, you'd like to be in the next 100 and stuff. Yeah, but there will be a point in time when it's pretty much there and done, and we're not playing around with it and stuff. We'll always be open to suggestions and stuff. But if you really like to be involved with something special like this that could affect potentially tens of thousands of people, maybe even more, over the lifespan of each of us. And what I'm playing on that again is very much how does it feel? Is I think again, part of the avatar is the people that want to make an impact in the world. Apple here's to the crazy one speech.
Yeah.
Is something that I'm going to use here as well too. So that message, like, here's to the crazy ones. So yeah, you've been, whether you were told directly or you felt it. And again, I know myself, it's like, I just don't seem to fit in. Am I crazy or are they crazy? And because of course I take everything personally, I default to, no, I'm the one that's wrong. They're not. And again, we'd be talking about self-esteem and self-confidence and stuff in the plan. I think most people that come to this are going to say, yeah, man, I thought starting something like myself, but my gosh, yeah, again, how I would have said if how to say the tables were turned and you were introducing this to me, I would say things like, oh my gosh, I wanted to start something like this myself, and thank you for initiating it. And you mean I might be able to help build this together with you? Yeah, again, that's what makes this thing really rock and roll, is because it's not one person's vision, it's a collective thing. And of course, there'll be a hierarchy based upon commitment and time involved. There will be, of course, some people that are investing more of their time and energy, creativity towards it. That's just the fact of all organizations and stuff. But if you want to be involved with this, now's the time. 6 months from now, this is going to be a full program. And again, there'll be mild tweaks every now and then when we see problems, but it won't be the same. So that's the other thing as well. This communicates that kind of paradigm for urgency. So again, I'm super excited what you've done here with me. Because who knows? I mean, we might be able to get to, again, just putting zeros behind it, the 100 turns into 1,000. That might be something that happens in less than 6 months or sooner.
Yeah. I feel like once you have the bare bones of, okay, it seems like pretty consistently people are wanting, like, out of the things that we talk about, like the nine kind of like key ideas and each of the little steps in there, it's like people really gravitate to like 2 or 3 of those, and you might have a dozen conversations and that becomes really apparent. So like, once you have that, like, oh, I've gotten like 4 or 5 yeses in a row, and like, 4 out of 6 have all talked about this. So that's what we lead with. That's what we like. Let's try a couple of organic ads. Like, just lead with that. Hey, do you want this thing? Here's my perspective on how you get this thing. Here's who you can be when you have that thing. And here's what it feels like. Here's what the big idea is to create it. And here's what you got to do. That sounds good. Let's talk.
Right. Yeah. So that, yeah, again, you're absolutely right. This is basically market research for what we'll do for our paid ads. Yeah.
And I
Certainly,
think,
of course, organic ads as well, but yeah.
yeah, but I
But
think you've got tons and tons of goodwill between the two groups that you've started. And like now it's just a matter of like reaching out to the people that are most engaged and connected and say, hey, I'm super excited. I have something concrete that I'm really looking to get people's feedback on and see this is what I want to do, and it's really for everybody else. So I want to see, am I moving in the right direction? I want your honest opinion.
yep,
Would you be willing to hop on a call with me for 10 minutes? Let me show you what I'm super excited about and see if you get excited about it too, or if you have some suggestions on how I can make it better.
yep,
It's
yep.
a great, like just a simple, just no pressure. Let me hear your feedback. Let me tell you what I'm thinking for a paid thing. You tell me, does it sound like it's something you want? Does it sound like it helps? And would you be interested in this? And if they're like, yeah, like what's the next step? How do I help build it? How do I what how much is it going to cost? If you can get them in just based on the idea, then it's just a matter of like, what's the market feel like it's worth? Is it something they're ready to do yesterday? Like that's where we want to land.
Hmm.
And if there's interest in it from showing them this is this is what the idea is. This is not new. This is something you've been thinking about, planning, working really hard on for the last year and a half since I've known you. And you've got, I don't know, decades maybe of experience
Well, I
with
can talk about
very
in the origin story about how I had ideas, but to really bring them forth into action and make them real, I needed community. I needed
hmm
people like Aaron Weber to help me. Okay, he saw there was some potential in this, and he invested his time originally, and then I saw the benefit of what he offered and stuff. I paid him some money to do this. Um, Total transparency and stuff. There, because again, I want people to come to you when people
hmm
go, this is freaking amazing. Oh, by the way, thank you, and got to give credit where credit's due. Aaron helped me out tons on this to get, I don't know, again, since I said 10% before, 10% of the people I talk to that say this is awesome, hopefully would at least schedule a call with you and work with this, because there will be entrepreneurs. It's like, oh my gosh, this is fucking amazing what you got here. It's like, oh, would you like it for your business? Oh, dude, well, my business is different. No, no, no. I mean, in general, how I was able to communicate to you. Aaron was able to help me in not that long a period and stuff to really flesh this out and make it so it's easy to communicate in a way that I couldn't do otherwise. So it's between you and him, but if you want to talk to Aaron and stuff, it's just as simple as getting on his calendar and kind of stuff.
hmm
So that's the other thing as well too. I want to very much, and it's again, this is just happens because this is what we're co-creating here, but that's the
Yeah.
other thing about the spirit of it is I won't work with 100 people because it's just, that's not realistic. But as much as possible, saying, like, I posted a thing about this gal, Jennifer, who does hypnosis
hmm
and stuff. I've worked with her. Okay. So when I
hmm
say, hey, check this out, I,
Yeah.
my endorsement is because I've already experienced it and I got benefits. So that's this
hmm
other spirit of, and that's why I hope with the entrepreneurial spirit, people won't necessarily think that this is a spam fest. It's like I came
hmm
in here and everybody's selling stuff. It's like, no, actually, I got a section that's specifically for people to endorse each other,
Yeah.
promote themselves. And if that's something you don't dig, just don't go into that area, you know.
hmm
But on the other hand, if you're looking for help in a certain area of your life,
hmm
we'll make it easy to sort through X number of people. I mean, potentially it could be hundreds of people, yeah, I'm looking for mindset. Okay, here's all the people, hashtag mindset
hmm
kind of stuff. So that's the other thing I think is really valuable for entrepreneurs, because there's a lot of people like Dave Brisbane.
hmm
When we were talking yesterday, I'm like, because this is so much in your area of your expertise, I would really like you to be involved with this. And I don't know how it can work out where I can compensate you, or if it's just me referring people to you, but was getting into the whole hero's journey, first half of life,
hmm
second half of life stuff, existential. he does a, as far as I'm concerned, he's as good as anybody in a bookstore. It's like $1 million guy I've got on my side as an ally. And he comes back when he goes, yeah, but I have to thank you, Randy, and stuff. What you do, again, I'm just not wired to promote and to build this kind of stuff, which obviously, again, this kind of stuff turns me on, and you as well. That, there's, I think, I've been using the word synergy, but it seems to me the appropriate word. We get this synergy with this group that we're helping each other and stuff. And there's some people that are just like, I can't do sales and stuff. Oh, well, that's cool. Guess what? What do you want to sell? How much do you want to sell? We're talking $500 or $500,000. Because if you really want to scale up and do some numbers, there's people you can hire that they train and manage. Again, it's not cheap, but the cut you give them and stuff, so you give them 30 cents on the dollar, but they're giving you like $1 million. So would you pay $300,000 to have $1 million, 700,000?
Yeah.
Dude, these numbers are insane. They're crazy. Again, I asked, is this what you would like to do in the big picture? And I'm not saying it's going to get hired, this is going to happen in 30 days. But there's sales companies I can introduce you to that, again, they handle the hiring, the training, the managing, and all this kind of stuff. You just write them a check, and your check, there's an initial startup fee, but basically they're compensated in direct proportion of sales, like sales guys do. So it's in their best interest to sell a bunch of it. So would you like to talk to sales guys? Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. And the next thing you know, when they get the result, again, how we celebrate success, the next guy that hasn't even raised his hands, just checking out a post and all this kind of stuff. And well, if it worked for him, it can work for me, and so on and so on. And maybe even some people like the interviews, like, so with Carrie was talking about, this is something, because it's been so far back that I've just now been triggered to remember, we have members interview members. So right now it's just me, because hey, it is basically just me. As things start moving forward in this first 100, why couldn't number 52 interview number 62?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have recordings and podcasts and stuff. It's like, hi, I'm John Doe, and I want to introduce you to Jane Doe. She's pretty cool, and again, so then the next 100 comes in, and it's just like, whoa, you guys, you are, everybody in this group really seems to be bringing value. This is amazing. And so, and that's what I'm getting at also with the whole, like, eventually, it may just seem appropriate. Everybody is like, no, what this is offering here, man, this is worth 10 times what you're charging, Randy. So maybe at least double your prices. Don't have to 10x it, but there's going to be, this is kind of coming back to, and again, I'm just so fucking excited. And excuse me dropping the F-bombs. That's how excited I can't even can't even regulate the words that are coming out right now. My intention is, to the best of my ability, and those that are committed to this will be the best possible group we can create. And eventually there will be a point in time where this is recognized that this is absolutely the best membership that they know of in the world. Get to the point where, I guess Tony Robbins being considered, he's considered probably number one. He may not necessarily do it in dollar wise, but he's the most recognizable name in personal development. It's like, it's like, who's the best? Who's the guy synonymous, the best guy for person? Tony Robbins. To have people reference this as Unchurch. And this is also the part of the thing why I want to do the branding, not Randy. Because one, hey, I want this to be, again, it's going to take a lot of time. I'm 58. I may not be on this earth in 10 years. Okay. I hope I am, but you know what I mean? So kind of the legacy thing, why I want to give so much to this, that, just because you've helped me as much or more than anyone else, is like, say I could hand the reins over to you. It's like, there was a succession plan. Randy knew that there would be someday that he can't have this role and this vision. And because you helped craft this vision, it would be kind of if you so choose, that is,
Yeah.
But you kind of create this thing where it's bigger than any of us,
Hmm.
and
Right.
it's just like, wow. And part of why I come from this is because it's been about 10 years and stuff since Saddleback, but I saw it with Rick Warren. When Rick
Hmm.
Warren would preach, sell out every sermon.
Hmm.
He's why people come to Saddleback.
Yeah.
And I got to see that they don't have teleprompters that I could see from my angle and stuff, but during the Christmas services, because they have so many and
Hmm.
multiple services over like 10 days or so, they did Christmas services.
Hmm.
Regardless of who was giving the message, it was the same message.
Mm.
So my point is the words, again, the
Hmm.
information, yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
it's quality stuff that'll be shared, but there'll be the fact that, again, at least in Saddleback, there's one person. Well, again, as I've mentioned, like with the diversity and all this kind of stuff, there will be some people that gravitate towards others that would have no interest in me. It's inevitable, and vice
Yeah.
versa, kind of stuff. But organically, as we go through, and we'll kind of see, again, not just in commitment of time, but who's really the one who's got that something special that everybody like a part of.
Hmm.
But also being mindful, again, with the group conscious is the other thing. It's like, no, there is a hierarchy in this because there has to be some direction to this. This isn't going to just, do itself. But on the other hand, if heck, saying the whole 10 founding members, I've been referenced like 10 founding members, kind of the core council, and so all 10 of them go away, which again, if this thing was to last, like AA's lasted over 80 years, kind of stuff. Well, it's inevitable. Okay, again, we're all adults and stuff. We would probably die off, and all of us, the founders, in 80 years.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, one of the things that stinks about AA is you've got basically immature people helping immature people.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's just like, oh, okay. It's kind of like, I don't know, if your parents again, their worldview is very transactional. Okay. That I'm a good boy, so I get a cookie. That's the way they are as adults. Everything I do has to have a direct correlation to me getting something out of it. Then their kids and their grandkids and so on and stuff, because that's all they know. And that's, again, this is just the way the world works. Okay. Nothing's for free, son. Where this unconditional love thing, it's like, no, we do this. We're honest, not because we expect anything in return, because the return is just being honest.
Right.
Do this so it's a mature. That's what I mean by mature and stuff. It's like, I'm
doing it because it's who you are, not because what you get from doing it.
Yeah, and again, I can't tell you how to do. No one can tell you how, but you make this decision yourself. No, this is kind of the integrity part of the program. It's like, no, I'm honest because I'm an honest person, and even when I guess I'm less than the person I want to be and stuff, I will at least admit to myself what's really going on, that I was dishonest. That thing, and as I alluded to yesterday. So that's the other thing as well too, and what I've been getting at. There's, do you know who Mark Manson is? He's an author. He's very successful. He helped Will Smith in his autobiography, but his bestsellers is, I think it's called Everything's Fucked. And then the one I was listening to was about there's no, like, hope is fucked or something. He's the one who brought the F word in popular, and in the kind of self-help and stuff.
Yeah. The name sounds like it should ring a bell. It just doesn't.
He found his shtick is again, dropping F-bombs and this whole kind of I don't know, so barstool life advice kind of thing. It talks in the way like if I was sitting in your backyard and stuff.
Right.
And like, I'm kind of emulating somewhat, and again, like, what transactional is. Like, when I was a little boy, my mom wanted me to clean my room. She said I would get a cookie, and I want the cookie. So I understood, life is transactional. My mom taught me
Mm.
and stuff that for me to
Mhm.
get rewards, I always had to do things. And certainly there's some value to it, but eventually it came to the point where, well, if there's no cookie, then why do I clean my room?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, yeah, it's just, yeah. I had no intrinsic motivation and stuff to do things that basically are socially acceptable. And therefore, I was socially unacceptable by default. I'm a 35-year-old man, living on a mattress in his friend's house and stuff. Stack of dirty
Mhm.
clothes in the corner and a stack of bills on the dresser and stuff. And this is true,
Mhm.
kind of thing. It's like, yeah, because I don't get a cookie for cleaning my clothes. I only clean my clothes until when I have no clean clothes. You know,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And again, this is absolutely true. So, yeah, I was listening on audiobook chapter 6 of that, his second book about hope and stuff. And I guess segues with that and stuff. I want to read that chapter to set the tone for this.
Mm.
It's really, really good about the whole thing of like,
Mhm.
well, you being a parent, you can probably relate. So like he
Yeah.
talks about, again, at like 3 years old, he discovered that the ice cream was in the freezer was within his reach if he tippy-toed. Okay.
Mhm.
And his mom discovers him and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, again, kind of with his bar stool, he goes, yeah, for my 3-year brain, this was the closest ever I was going to get to an orgasm until I was 10 years old, 10 years older, covered head to toe, he's doing this picture and all this kind of stuff, talking about, yeah, everything was about pain and pleasure.
Mm.
And he goes, and eventually then I learned and stuff to navigate and stuff and not to, not just stealing the ice cream was bad, but stealing
Mhm.
anything was bad, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it leads into explaining emotional growth, getting to being everything goes from pain to pleasure to being
Mm.
transactional to get, but he goes, it's still basically, you're just a little more, savvy as a child, as you're in.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
he's like, but the thing is most people don't evolve from this transactional mentality,
Right. Right. I
and
just had this conversation with Guillaume yesterday. It was like I'm at the point in my life where I really appreciate being miserable. Like that's a weird statement for somebody who hasn't experienced that. Or I'm like being able to just relax and say, I'm not trying to push this thing away from me and expend any energy trying to avoid it. Like I can admit to myself, oh, I don't like something about what's going on in my life. And I get to have the experience of whatever this is sucks. And just letting it happen instead of expending all of this energy like, how can I protect myself? How can I like ignore it? How can I get rid of it or solve the problem? It's just like, you know what? Sometimes being miserable and just feeling crappy is easier than trying to do all of this like rigmarole that the rest of my life was. And you bend yourself into knots trying to pretend that something is like, and it's just like has no reflection on me or like how good or bad of a person I am. It's just like if I'm a thermometer, I'm just displaying this is the situation right now. And it's like, oh, well, from that perspective, it's like I can afford to be miserable for a few hours,
yeah,
and and it's actually I'm glad that that's all that's being asked of me.
yeah,
And then from that standpoint, it's like, oh, I don't have to treat anybody any more, nasty than, I, it doesn't have to leak out into other people. I don't have to like do anything about it. It's gonna go away on its own. It's so much nicer to just realize like a little bit more of like what's going on.
yeah,
So like I
you got
have
it.
I have a gratitude for, moments like that.
Yeah. So it was my light bulb moment of the unconditional love is, yeah, I got to unconditionally. I love my life. I love my family. Doesn't matter that my wife is angry at me right now and my kids hate me too and stuff.
Hmm.
It hasn't changed the fact. It's not whether they're happy or upset with me. My love still is with them. Well, again, we could say
Right.
unconditional honesty,
Hmm.
unconditional open-mindedness, unconditional
Hmm.
willingness and stuff.
Right.
He explains it better. I wanted to, again, kind of word it in my own way. And I'm just like, dude, just
Hmm.
give credit where credit's due. Say what book it comes from, say the author is.
Hmm.
read it, and then you're not stealing his audiobook and stuff. It's,
Yeah.
I'll read it. I'm going to reach out to him and make sure it's cool. But I think
Mm-hmm.
when it's, I think it's much like a quote. When you give credit to the whoever said it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not plagiarism. You know, so
Right.
Mark Twain
Right.
said this, so Mark Twain Foundation isn't
Mm-hmm.
going to sue me trying to say that this is credited to me. So
Mm-hmm.
just look, and you know, in the spirit, and people dig it. It's like, yeah, if you like this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
this is just chapter 6. There's a lot of chapters that are really good like this. This one just seems really, really appropriate to explain
Yeah.
the spirit of what this community is about and unconditional love at the personal level. Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
if you can't navigate life on your own, if you're relying on other people to decide when and where you do things, that's called codependency. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to have help through life, but if I'm totally relying upon every, it could be people that mean the best and probably they have really good ideas, but still I'm really codependent and I'm not in charge of my life. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really way too close to when things do go sideways. I can start blaming them and go into a victim mentality.
Right.
And hopefully there's people, I think there's a high probability that can go, yeah, I get what you're saying and stuff. So you must take charge of your life. You must take full responsibility of things. You may not be responsible for this thing to happen. Okay. Like the company went bankrupt and you're unemployed right now. No, that's not your fault. But you are responsible for getting another job as opposed to sitting on the couch and commiserating and resenting them and all that, and resenting life and all that kind of stuff. And that's what a mature person would do, you know. But it is, you added right in there. There is nothing wrong with, okay, I lost my job and I don't know how I'm going to make next month's rent. This really sucks. Feel the feelings, but still know. And this is kind of the thing where people typically can, you know, if you believe in God, you can understand God's going to support me. But if you're not so inclined, you can just say, no, again, it'll be okay. I can do this, and as long as I just don't stay on the couch and stuff, I'll probably get, you know, if I don't get a job, I probably can hit up my, you know, my friends, my parents and stuff, pay rent and stuff. I'll get through this. I've had hard times before. I'll get through this as well. I'm resourceful. I'm resilient and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to like the like one of the steps is literally like making the choice to, well, what is it that I can be, what is it that I can look at that's positive in this? It's like you always have the choice to like, what is terrible and awful about this situation? It's like you can spend lots of energy and go down that whole rabbit hole, or you can say, okay, I admit there's something about this that's not great. I don't like this. I don't want it to stay this way. So, what are my options? What can I do about it? What do I have to be grateful for? What choices are available? It's like you can look backwards about, oh, I'm having this experience. I've had that experience. I don't like that experience. Or you can look forward, but so now what? Am I just stuck here forever? Well, as long as you're looking that direction, you're not seeing any new paths.
yep, yep. All these little simple things, and again, they'll be,
Mm-hmm.
again, how you say it in your way, and we have, you know, 80 other people saying it in their ways, believing
Mm-hmm.
these things. But I believe I just said it to you in the time. I've been rambling on so much stuff, but I know I said it with Brian. The cornerstone of our avatar who's coming here are the people that understand that they've gone through some gnarly stuff. They've been transformed, and it's not for themselves alone.
Mm-hmm.
They have something to give. So also,
Yes.
I know we did it in a previous session, but it's, you know, it's there. Of the avatar, do you still have that information?
Um,
Because I'm going to have to dig for it myself. Um,
yeah. Let's see. Is this something that you talked about, or the thing that we put together?
It would have been about 90 days ago. We talked about kind of like the avatar of the members and
Mm.
stuff. Again,
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
just giddy and just puking all over you verbally and stuff. But yeah, I'll dig for that and I can share it with you. But as we bring things together and stuff. So I think I think next steps here are yeah, kind of go through it, see it grammatically and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. We can review next week. That's fine. I waited this long. I can wait another week.
Mhm.
And we kind of
Yeah.
schedule, we do like a Facebook Live.
Mhm.
We can do it in both my groups. And
Mhm.
who knows? Maybe even Brian Campbell. Brian supports it. He goes,
Yeah.
he goes, I don't think I got enough time to be in your 10 of your council, but I'm in your first 100. I believe in it.
Mm.
And so we'll see exactly how that manifests specifically and stuff. But I
Yeah.
think it'd be real easy for in Brian's group for us to do
Mhm.
the presentation there. Um,
Yeah.
and again, in letting know that you're
Mhm.
somebody that can help those entrepreneurs. It's like, which by the
Mhm.
way,
Mhm.
we're all entrepreneurs here, okay?
Yeah.
Give credit where credit's due. If you enjoyed this, what was presented today and stuff, see that guy over there, the good looking one of the two of us? Yeah, that's Aaron Weber. Made this, my had a bazillion and one thoughts, helped me put it together in a very concise, easy to understand slide deck that I just shared with you. So, again, that's something I want to do, but I think we can do 3 maybe. I'll kind of put feelers out, but would you be open
Yeah.
for doing 3 of those presentations, and we
Sure.
kind of see how responses are. I'll handle all the follow-ups and stuff when
Mhm.
somebody raises their hands and wants to take care. I'll take care of all that. But if you could help me for I'm just, the gears are turning next steps. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah,
So
we get
let me do this. Let's see. In terms of presenting, um, I just put together uh, a training on um, presenting a sexy story, something that puts a face on your business or program, so people have a way to understand it. So the visual representations of what we've created is like a great um, it's like a great part of that process. Um, I
mhm.
feel like I feel like it might be helpful for me to send you uh, the video I just did.
Yes, please.
And we just talk about 6 things. In fact, it's right up here on the screen. I literally just recorded it this afternoon. But it's like if you can address these 6 things to communicate one idea. This is, I mean, every ad, every program that I've looked at kind of falls under this model. And I'm just restating so many of the same copy principles, but it's like you start with what your audience wants. So sobriety, easier sobriety, a life that you don't have to escape from. So then you share your perspective on how they get so this is what you need in order to get that. Here's what I've discovered that has worked for me, my perspective on the unique way to solve this problem so that you can be this kind of person, the person who actually like my life. I'm not trying to push things away anymore. I'm somebody who is in control and I'm happy about what I get to experience. That's who you can become. And then the feelings so what are the things we don't have in our life anymore now that we've stepped into this new identity? What are the things that it feels like to have easier sobriety? It's like things are a lot more effortless. I'm not as upset and I don't have resentful. I don't feel as selfish anymore. The way that you do this, like here's my mechanism. And if you're going to work with me, like you can join our low cost membership or you can take my easier sobriety workshop. Or if you want to talk to me about like, Randy, I might need a little more hands on help. Like maybe we can talk about a one on one thing. But here's the how it works. And this is what you've got to do. You have to be somebody who's a little willing to change. You have to start being willing to go through these, exactly what we built. It's like you have to have some go through the identity and start understanding who is the person that I'm trying to be, and then you got to have the integrity to start becoming that person if you want to have the serenity that comes along with a lifestyle of sobriety.
Yeah,
And it's easy once you figure out the right way for you. That's what I want to help you do. And if AA type meeting or processes like that haven't really worked for you in the past, this might.
Yep. Perfect.
So that's
Perfect.
the
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
that's kind of the model, and I've got like a 10-minute training on like exactly how to establish like these are. I'll send it to you.
No,
Don't need
perfect.
to. I don't need to
So,
do the
because
whole thing.
this
So.
works really good, because eventually what I want to do, again, we got to do our soft launch and then the hard
Mhm.
launch and all that kind of stuff. But I want to have, like, the automated webinar stuff going on.
Yeah.
So again, when we're doing the paid ads and stuff, it directs them
Hmm.
to the video sales letter and stuff, which is
Hmm.
basically that format you've described.
Hmm.
That, okay, then book a call. However, in a little more nuanced and stuff, there's,
Hmm.
I haven't delved into his trainings yet, but this guy that's generated $1 bazillion and stuff, um, his software makes it so you go through like the surveys, so you can direct them to like multiple video sales letter. So if
Hmm.
somebody's like just getting sober and stuff, there's one for that.
Yeah.
I've done it for a
Hmm.
year, but I'm thinking about, maybe this is too hard, maybe it's not worth it. There's that one.
Yeah.
A guy like me who's got like 15 years, it's just like, what the fuck,
Hmm.
I got this. If things get out, I'll pull it back. And again, whatever it may be for the appropriate responses to the survey,
Yeah.
you lead people, but then it all funnels into the same damn offer
Hmm.
kind of stuff. So that's more down the road and stuff. But I'm thinking about, again, the big picture, again, the scalability of this stuff. We get it to the
Hmm.
thing here. Yeah. So that's another aspect as well that doesn't, it's not appropriate at this moment, but I want to have, again, the whole pay it forward kind of stuff
Hmm.
is, okay, we're bringing money in. We can pay people to do this.
Yeah. Have I shown you the funnel that we built for our program?
No, please, please. I'd love to see it.
It's I'll try and make it quick, but it's cool for me because like I feel like it's uh it's starting to step into that reality where you feel like, oh, I'm starting to have built and accumulated, and like you start to create the things that are the reflection or the hallmarks of like, oh, this is kind of what it feels like to be successful. Like you have to know what it is inside, you really get clear on what it is that you're doing, but then externally you start bringing those things into fruition. But the 5-minute Facebook groups is the course that we're doing. So this is just the squeeze page to get people to say, hey, I'm interested in being seen by more people. Like I want to grow an audience. And so this is the lead page to reserve their spot. And um, so we have a live webinar that we're doing on Thursdays, and this just directs them to that. But the actual funnel looks like this. We don't even have like a sales page yet officially, but we have like a 40-minute webinar that we've put together that we're doing live. Literally, what like we're like a step ahead of where you're at. Is
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we've put it together, all the information that they need to know. We're trying to do it in front of real people to get feedback from actual prospects where they can say, that sounds great. Or, what would really help me is if you did this. It's like, why don't you just make all my marketing material for me? And I mean, what I'm finding is like that is something that people are kind of implicitly asking for. And that's kind of why I'm experimenting with this. What I'm doing with you, what I was doing with Leslie is just constructing some things for them. It's like, you can take that off my to-do list, then it feels like I'm moving forward.
Yep.
And they're like, if I know what I'm selling and I can say it, then I can start building a group and a community and an audience. A lot of people haven't done what you've done, which is I'm just going to connect with people and build an audience of people. I don't know what for. I'll have something eventually. A lot of people feel like, well, I got to do this before I do that. And so, anyway, this is like, we've listed off all the things that they get. We've got a bunch of, testimonials and stuff. We've got bump orders, and then Guillaume put together like a bunch of upsell pages of like, well, if that was something that you actually wanted, here's a couple of options that might sweeten the deal, make it a little bit of an upgrade in case you're, looking for those sorts of things. So it's an exciting journey to be on. I guess really what I'm showing this to you for more than anything is just like this is kind of the direction that you're headed, and it's sort of
Mhm,
like
mhm.
I'm just starting to scratch the surface of that, and it feels cool to make progress. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So again, that's part of, no, that's not part of, that's why I'm so wide-eyed and bushy-tailed right now, is because yeah, there's tangible evidence today.
mhm.
And that
Yes.
that it's a first, So it's
Mm,
almost kind of like your first paycheck.
yeah.
I wanted a job, I got a job, and now I got the paycheck. Yay,
Hmm.
there's actually something tangible for all this, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah, I thank you so much. So
Oh, it's such a
uh,
privilege and a pleasure. I gotta go on because I've got a meeting
yep.
in 20 minutes. But I'm super glad. I'm super glad that we've gotten to this point, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, so we'll meet the initial objectives we've been talking about, and then we'll kind of figure out next steps if you want to work together. Is talking about next phases, next. Okay,
Yeah.
we got this done now. Let's we want to accomplish this and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
But this has been so rewarding emotionally, and I'm sure it'll
Mhm.
also there'll be financial rewards again that we can. I think there's potential here for you to be not maybe. I don't think anybody will be an employee per se, but
Hmm.
if it's right, yeah, I think we can create this together.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm always open for, ideas about partnership and like how can we mutually support each other in places where it makes sense. So yeah.
Well, if again, it just is a big, like, audacious goal and stuff. I mean, in the spirit of mega churches and stuff, 10, 20,000 people. And again, because
Hmm.
this doesn't rely on 10, 20,000 people in a city. This
Hmm.
is basically anybody who has internet and speaks English kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, even at the $7, if we have 10,000 people, that's $70,000 a month. Now, again, of course, there'll be other
Wow.
operate. That's just this one facet. So that's
Yeah.
the thing where it could, in 24 months, be at that scale.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's me. See, I just demonstrated how I get ahead of stuff. Let's take care of first things first. So let me know what time next week to get together again and share your video with me, and I'll talk with you soon.
All right. Let me, before I hop off, I'll just send you my calendar link again. Mhm.
You're sharing in Messenger again, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, yeah. Well, can I use the same link?
Um, Potentially. Let's see.
Or not?
Sometimes it's like a single use link. Let me just send you the one that will allow you to rebook,
Okie dokie.
and then you can mark that denied access. Oh, it's trying to log it. Yeah.
Oh, and I just forgot about something, or remembered something I had forgotten about. I'm speaking next month too. Oh, this is perfect.
Where are you speaking?
So it's virtual. Della Wren, um,
Mhm.
Laura, and so she's doing this summit called Heal Yourself Virtual Summit,
Mm.
and yeah, how many people are involved with it. I'm not, again, I'm doing it because I
Mhm.
appreciate how she supported me, and I'm sure this is going to be a bitch in an event, but this will
Mhm.
coincide. So that'll give me enough time to get practiced with this as well,
Yeah.
that I can, it's in about 3 weeks that
Yeah.
I can do in there, and I'll be able to be a little more polished and therefore effective. So this is
That's
perfect.
exciting.
It is, yeah. So anyway, I know you got to go.